Zombicide Morgue is the third major installment in the Zombicide family. It is Season 3. There have been other sets which are expansions but not standalone expansions. And when you see that the standalone expansions are called seasons instead of chapters or simply any other way, you know that the game will have a cinematic feel to it, or at least that is in the intent of the designer and the producer. Um, Technically, I guess it's about a TV show, but well, I guess that it's just another way of pointing to the spectacular nature of the game. The game has a spectacular nature and it reminds me much more of a Hollywood blockbuster than, say, The Walking Dead, which is about the relationship among human beings and difficult, dire circumstances. Oh, no, not Zombicide. Zombicide is about blowing stuff up with powerful weapons, making molotovs to throw on horrendously disfigured genetic experiments that went horribly wrong. This kind of things. Monsters, zombies, more zombies, survivors that fire big weapons at them. It's a system that has been around for a couple of years now. Probably most of you already know it, but for the one person maybe out there who doesn't know the system yet, Zombicide, the Ameritrash option for thematic players who enjoy to devastate, destroy large numbers of zombies and want to have beautiful components, ton of plastic, a ton of die rolls when they're doing so. Fully cooperative, so also perfectly playable as a solitaire game. Let me show you how the game works. The game is played on a modular board that you put together by using double-sided tiles that come with the game and that you will put together according to the scenario instructions of the scenario that you have decided to play. This game introduces hospital rooms, which are very dangerous places because of the beds that look like they're empty or they have harmless corpses, but in reality they may host very lively undead people that will crawl out of those beds and try to eat you. You set up the board according to the scenario instructions and you place your initial survivors on the board. They represent the characters that the players will use. Each character has a character card with an experience track. During the game you will gain experience mainly by killing zombies. You will use this marker here to indicate the level of experience that you have gained. As you can see, there are several color bands. When you reach a new color band, you acquire new skills, so that is great. Unfortunately, the more experienced your team is, the more annoyed the zombies are and the more dangerous their behavior is. Here you have 5 slots where you place the equipment cards that the players start with and that they will gain throughout the game. There are 2 slots that represent the cards in hands. These are the items that the character has actually and presently equipped and is able to use. You also have cards in reserve. They are with you, but you can't use them because they're not in your hand. Unless it's some special card like things that provide you with protection, then you do not actually have to have them in hand, like a bulletproof vest, for example. During the game you can rearrange your cards from in hand to in reserve. Also, these slots is where you place wounded cards that you receive throughout the game when the zombies attack you. If you ever receive 2 wounded cards, then you're gone, you're killed. Gameplay is pretty straightforward. Each character gets to take 3 actions and then the zombies will activate. 3 actions is what characters have available each turn. At the beginning of the game they may acquire further actions thanks to improving their condition on the experience track or other game effects. And you can use your actions to perform a variety of things. You can spend an action to move from one area to an adjacent area. Pretty intuitive. If you are indoor, you can spend an action to search the location. in which case you draw a card from this deck of equipment cards and you acquire the corresponding card. But in some cases, actually, you will face an ambush, so that is not good. You hope to find something good, and you don't. You actually get attacked. You may spend an action to open a door. Doors are on the board according to scenario instructions at the beginning of the game. They may be closed or open. If they're closed, you need to open them. You need the right tools. You need sometimes keys represented by objectives. For example, in order to open this pink door here in this scenario, I need to first acquire that objective there. And there are various ways of opening doors. Many of those ways will produce noise tokens. For example, if I'm opening a door with a fire axe, this icon here tells me that the fire axe does allow me to open a door, but also produces a noise token, which I have to place on the board. Various actions will produce noise tokens. For example, attacking with a firearm produces a noise token. You place them on the area of the board where you perform the noisy action, and the presence of noise tokens on the board will affect the way the zombies will move later on. They are attracted by noises. Each player on the board also counts as a noise token, so you can try to manipulate the movement of the zombies by producing noise in one area, splitting your group in different ways, so that you can try to control to an extent the movement of the zombies. You can reorganize your inventory, as I explained earlier, for an action. You can launch an attack against the zombies. Right now, the board looks pretty clear and nice, right? But trust me, we'll be cluttered with these pesky Walking Dead pretty soon, and you will need to spend actions to fight them. And you can spend an action to launch a range combat, or to spend an action to perform a melee combat. The overall idea is very similar. That is, the weapon that you're using for your combat, well, may or may not produce noise, will have a range. In this case, the range is 1 or 2, because this is a ranged weapon, so it can attack out of the area where the character is. Each weapon produces a certain number of dice. This icon here indicates the number of dice that you will roll in that attack. In this case, I will roll a 2. A number to hit. If you match or exceed that number, you score the hit. And this is the number of damage points that the weapon inflicts. So here I roll 2 dice, roll a hit with a 4 or more, and inflict 2 points of damage. The tricky thing with range combat is that there is a target priority. When you're using range combat, you're not attacking a single target, but you're attacking an area. And within that area, there is a specific order in which you need to inflict hits. Unfortunately, somehow your survivor pulse are the best target. If you're firing into an area with zombies and survivors, you will hit your friends first. Doesn't make all that sense to me, but mechanically it does present a series of challenges, and you have to figure out how to work in such a way that you do not kill your pulse. So if you're attacking an area with a friend in it, you may decide to sacrifice the friend if you're able to inflict a lot of damage anyways, or you may jump in and use melee combat so that you can actually select your target. That's the thing with melee combat. Melee combat works in pretty much the same way, just at a shorter range. It is often not necessarily more silent. This icon means that the attack with this weapon does not produce a noise token. Shorter range, other than that, is still number of dice, number to hit, and damage inflicted per successful hit. You can also choose to spend actions to take an objective token or to make noise voluntarily just to affect the movement on the zombies on the board, or you can pass. After the players have all taken their actions, it is time for the zombies to act. There are 4 types of zombies in this game, 4 main ones, and there's also a big boss called the Abomination. But 4 main ones. You have the regular ones, which are the walkers. They move by 1, they take 1 point of damage to kill. You will have the runners, they have 2 actions because they're particularly fast when they activate. You have the fatties, which take a hit that inflicts 2 points of damage to kill because they have some thick skin and natural protection. And you have the crawlers, little pesky, annoying zombies. Now, the zombies in this expansion / standalone game are all Skinner zombies. It is a new category of zombies. What it means is that they're harder to kill properly. There are more cases when you think you have killed one of them and in reality the zombie is still crawling around. So a zombie that you quote unquote killed is not killed but replaced with a crawler. The way it works with Skinner zombies, again, it's just a designation of the zombies in this set. What happens with these zombies is that you attack them normally and you eliminate them normally, but after that, for each one that you rolled with your attack, you replace a zombie that you killed with a crawler. And crawlers are particularly annoying because, being so small, they are the last in the target priority. Pretty much, if you want to kill them with a range attack, you need to kill everybody else in the way before you can get to them. So it's much better to kill them with range combat. But it's a pretty pesky, annoying thing that they do. A zombie that you would have otherwise killed turns out to be, alas, a crawler. After all players have performed their actions, the zombies get to perform their actions. There will be a lot of zombies on the board. As you can see, you got quite a stock of available undead here, and you place them on the board during the spawning phase, but each time that the zombies activate, first they move and then you spawn new ones. So the zombies on the board will usually take an action. If they are not in a location with a survivor, they will move to go towards the survivor. That's an action for them to move by 1 location. Or if they're in an area with a survivor, they'll spend their action to attack. When they attack, they take away an item from the survivor and also they inflict a 1. It's pretty simple. It's simply automatic hit for them. And the runners, remember, have 2 actions, so they can move and attack, or attack twice or move twice. Pretty annoying. After the zombies on the board have acted, you roll dice to spawn new zombies. The number of dice that you roll during the spawning phase depends on the number of players, of survivors that you have. The more survivors on the board, the more dice you roll. And when you after you roll them, you match the result. For example, here I have a 5 with the numbers on the spawning areas on the board. These spawning areas, their location and the numbers attached to them are determined by the scenario instructions. So I simply place a 4 there, a 5 here. If I have a 1, I put it there. You simply match all of these dice with the numbers on the spawning area. The dice are simply to determine where the new zombies will come out of and in what concentration. You may have a lot of zombies in a single area, maybe they're better spread out, no zombies coming out from a certain point, you don't know that yet. After you place the dice, for each die you draw one of these cards that indicate the zombies that are coming out. And you simply add for each die the number of zombies indicated on the card, looking at the band representing the experience of the most experienced survivor. Remember, the experienced band has 4 colors, light blue, yellow, orange, and red. So if, for example, all of the survivors at the beginning of the game are in the light blue area, this is the band that I use when I'm spawning zombies. Here I have 1 card, I flip it, I'm looking at the light blue, I simply add a walker. If all of my characters are in the yellow band of experience and just one is in the orange band of experience, then I need to look at the orange band when I'm resolving spawning cards. So some spawning cards will simply tell me to add new zombies, and you look at the type and number and you add accordingly. But some other cards actually will perform different things. So for example, this one will give the zombies in the band that you're looking at an extra activation.
Here, oh, this is bad. The green bat card. As I said, hospitals are dangerous here because bats may be full of annoying crawlers. And in this case, when you draw this card, each green bat on occupied tiles, so tiles where there also are survivors, spawns a crawler. Similarly, with the manhole card, the manhole zones on occupied tiles spawn the corresponding number of zombies. So this is the general idea. Zombies will move and attack. After you resolve all of those, you spawn them. Couple of other things. In this set there are helicopters. Well, there is one, but the helicopter features in several scenarios. The helicopters can be taken into the air if you have a character that has the helicopter pilot ability, and that character is on the helicopter. Then the character can spend actions to fly the helicopter. There is this game piece here, which is used to represent the status of the helicopter as the helicopter is flying. He can also carry passengers, and this can be very important if you're trying to transfer your passengers to different areas of the board. Usually characters can get in and out of the helicopter only if the helicopter is on the ground, but you may have characters with the fast roping ability, which allows them to jump out of helicopters and get back in as the helicopter is in midair. For example, this is very important in this scenario because the helicopter can only land and take off from the helipad. But in this scenario, the characters are trying to leave from this area here. They need to exit the board here. So in order to get here, they need to open this door because they start there. But the only way to open this door is to first get that objective. And there, as you can see, there are no other open doors on this side of the building. The only way to get there is to get in the helicopter, fly on that side, get a fast roping character, go down because you can't land the helicopter there. Get in, get the objective, come back, open the door, and then go here. So you'll need to split your team in different groups. So one going there to do this little procedure to be able to open the door, and another group probably staying around here, maybe searching this location and fighting here to try to keep the zone relatively clear, in any case, to keep the level of danger of the zone low so that then the players with the key can come back and the entire team can leave from here. Some scenarios may also have tents that the army set up at the beginning of the zombie invasion, thinking, oh, they're gonna be useful to get headquarters right in the battlefield. Bad idea. Of course, these tents now are completely destroyed and they are completely useless. Well, they count as locations, and zombies can come out of the beds depending on the cards that are drawn in the spawning phase. Another new thing here is triggering events. These are used to modify the way in which zombies are placed on the board when players enter locations. Usually when you enter a location, you spawn zombies for the entire building, not necessarily with the triggering token. You place them on the board based on scenario instructions, and simply they may be part of a building, and you enter the building, and usually you would spawn zombies for that area too when you enter the building. Because of the triggering event, actually, you spawn zombies in that area only when a character or survivor physically enters that area. Then you flip the triggering event token to this side just to show that the event was triggered, and then you spawn zombies normally. It simply means that zombies will spawn in different waves as the characters reach specific locations, rather than to spawn in a large bunch when the character enters a building, which allows you to time things in a certain way so that you can prevent too many zombies from showing up by trying to trigger the events one after the other in a specific sequence, or in any case when you're ready for the event to be triggered for the new wave of zombies to be added to the board.
I really enjoyed Zombicide when it first came out. I wasn't 100% convinced about the order of the targeting priority. I wasn't convinced then, I'm not 100% convinced now. But I played the game many times since, and I enjoyed virtually every single game. So at the end, I had to admit that my problem with the targeting priority is some sort of intellectual thing that doesn't translate in any form of reduction of the enjoyment of the game, which is absolutely enjoyable. It's a game which is about the adventure, it is about the interaction of the characters, it is about the team working together, and really is about getting into the right spirit to enjoy the over-the-top theme, to enjoy the violence, the gruesomeness, the crazy action, to enjoy the adrenaline that comes from seeing this bigger-than-life story develop before your eyes. It could potentially feel pretty dry if you're just sitting in a corner and attacking, shoot and shoot and shoot. It can get repetitive, but I think that's probably one of the ways also why a game like Shadows of Brimstone has been a little divisive. Both games are cooperative games with also plastic, and games in which you destroy a large number of enemies. The enemies spawn in large hordes. And that means that if you're not somewhat creative, the game may feel repetitive and probably also very hard. But I don't think the problem is with the game, the problem is with certain types of approach which may not be fully tactical. You will enjoy the theme to the degree in which you're willing to exploit the thematic possibilities of the game. If you're just sitting in a corner with your character and shooting, you probably won't last very long, and what's worse is that probably you won't have much fun. But the game has plenty of opportunities for you to actually exploit the tactical opportunities on the board, which also results in a more flavorful, nuanced, multi-layered, and enjoyable story. You can have a character that is making noise and deciding to sacrifice him or herself for the team, because then a horde of zombies will close up in on that character. You may have a character that is searching the premises of a hospital. Hospitals are an introduction, a new thing introduced in this set. Kind of tricky because not every room in the hospital can be searched. So you went all the way there to be able to look for something in the locker room, and it turns out that actually there is a zombie ambushing you. This is something that you see in the movies. In any case, the synergy of the characters, so using the weapons, using the skills, and using the opportunities offered by the landscape are not only the elements that will allow you to play effectively, increasing your chances of winning the game, but most importantly, those are the things that you have to take into account, that you have to be willing to work with for the game to really shine, for the game to be a fun experience. Personally, I find it to be a big plus that the game is playable as a solitaire game. You simply have your own team of heroes, you control all of your heroes. I played it that way, both this set and previous sets, and I really enjoyed the game in that fashion too. As for this set specifically, a lot of new tiles which you can use to design your own scenarios, especially if you combine them with previous sets. In general, you have enough stuff here that even if you do not have other sets, you will be able to create a lot of situations. You can design your own scenarios. The miniatures are nice. I like them. I do not know that I like them better than miniatures from previous sets, but definitely the quality is pretty high. The miniatures are functional. The components are all attractive and functional. The art I like very much, is somewhat, again, over the tops, between realistic, realistic is not the right word, between serious and slightly caricatural. There's a little bit of a caricature quality, which is important because you need to have a certain degree of tongue-in-cheekness given the overall tone. The new rules, the new elements that you have in the set definitely add to the previous installments. I like the helicopter. I like the extra tactical options that you have and the specific synergies that come as maybe part of the team is working around the helicopter, trying to get off the helicopter to accomplish a mission in a part of the board, as the players are working or the characters are working to do different things. While swarms, tides of zombies keep coming in. To me, It's not a set that reinvents the wheel. It's not a set that is completely different from Zombicide previous sets. I don't think it's a set that will change your mind about Zombicide. If you like early games, it's really likely that you will enjoy this one, which is a different implementation, new characters, new scenarios. The stuff that you find that you liked are definitely here, and they are presented in a different form, but it's not like if you didn't like the previous sets, this is going to be so different, it's going to fix something major, then that maybe this will be the game that convinces you to like the system, or an implementation that will be convincing to you, while the previous ones were. And there isn't that much of a conceptual difference to me among the previous sets, which I'm not saying as a negative, because I like the previous sets, I like the system in general, and I'm happy to find more of the same. That's not exactly what this is all about. More of something similar that it feels familiar, so it's not hard to start playing the game after a while, that you put Zombicide down because it's so familiar, so similar, but with lots of different options, with different thematic variants from the previous Zombicide sets, so that there is in fact enough new stuff in here that I do not feel like this set is redundant. Good set. Could be a new set for somebody who played previous sets, could be a starting set. It's a little tougher than previous sets because of the Skinner zombies. It's a little tougher to handle. You have an extra procedure. Maybe it's not the first set in case you're completely new to the system, but it's not even one that is particularly hard to pick up for any experienced, even just, half, not hardcore, halfway hardcore gamer. Any serious gamer will be able to pick up this game even without having played the previous sets of Zombicide. Zombicide Season 3 Morgue by Cool Mini or not. Definitely a fun set to play, and there's a lot of fun, a lot of replay value that one can find in this box. The components also look nice and durable, which of course is a big plus. And in a game that relies so heavily on atmosphere, maybe it is more than a plus. It is probably an essential aspect, which luckily enough we have here.